Hello, and welcome back to the Authentic Creative, expanding our capacity to feel good. Today is a very special day that I think we've all really been looking forward to, and it's because I have a gathering of incredible women, and we are gathering in honor of two profound moments: the spring equinox, March 20th, spring equinox, and the International Day of Happiness. This is a time of balance, renewal, and the gentle unfolding of what's next. It is the turning of the wheel, the earth's deep inhale, the invitation to step forward into the light. The equinox teaches us that day and night exist in perfect harmony, a reflection of what's possible within us. We are both the seed and the bloom, the dream and the action, the stillness and the rising energy of spring. Just as Earth awakens, so do we come out of our caves, right? You feel that our creativity, our leadership, our joy get to blossom through this spring equinox and this International Day of Happiness. So today we explore what it truly means to feel good, to expand our capacity for joy. Happiness is something that we cultivate, nurture, and allow to flow through us. As spiritual entrepreneurs, artists, healers, leaders, joy is woven into the way that we live, create, and show up in the world. Together, we explore how aligning with nature's rhythms, embracing happiness, and leading from the heart can inspire creativity, deepen our impact, and remind us why we're here. I am beyond honored to share this space with a circle of powerful, brilliant women. I wish Zoom would actually make us into a circle, but we're here in these little squares. But just spiritually, we're in a circle: visionaries, artists, mentors, and heart-centered leaders who are each bringing their own wisdom to this conversation from all over the world. All over the world, these women are showing up. Australia in the middle of the night. So I want to introduce our panelists. I have the joy of welcoming some truly inspiring women today. Each of them has walked a path of creativity, of authenticity, of leadership and healing, and we're all just walking this path together, walking ourselves home together. So first off, we have Linda Brand. She is a women's empowerment and spiritual mindset coach, guiding personal growth and self-love, helping women create meaningful life transformations. Simbi Hall, award-winning writer and director, amplifying underrepresented voices through powerful storytelling. Tracy Hill is the creator of A Beautiful Fix, helping women break free from burnout and reconnect with what makes them feel alive through her podcast, Human Design Insights and Transformational Offerings. Amy Wilkinson, soul mentor and spiritual teacher, empowering women to align with their truth and create abundance with ease. Robyn Cohen, a high-performance coach, acting teacher of the Robyn Cohen Acting Studio in LA, Juilliard-trained actress known for the life Aquatic and TV roles in NCIS, The Mentalist, and Gravity, and so many more I can't even mention. So IMDb, folks. Tangelia, RouseRingo, actress, comedian known for roles in 9/11, Without a Trace, and JONAS, bringing diverse characters to life on screen and on stage. Again, IMDb her. Dr. Arianna Masotti, clinical psychologist Simbi introduced me to, and CEO of Bloome, helping clients reach their potential through therapy, coaching, and creative solutions. Dana Shallett, Chief Impact Officer at House of Impact, conscious living consultant and speaker dedicated to global impact and meaningful change. Claudia Noriega Bernstein, inner abundance coach, helping women break free from self-doubt to embrace confidence, abundance, and personal power. Lola Christine, award-winning singer, songwriter, inspiring healing through music. And Cora Pawaj, inner life coach, and incredible. When I interviewed her, midwife of awakening is what we were calling you, and she's just all about the healing. So I want to share a little opening poem, and then I'm going to let these incredible women speak because there's a lot of wisdom inside of them. There is a moment when the earth shifts, when darkness and light meet as equals, when the quiet hum of renewal stirs beneath the surface, the trees feel it, the rivers move with it, even the smallest seed knows when to reach for the light. The sun calls us forward, the soil welcomes our roots. The wind carries whispers of what we are becoming. This is a season of opening, of stepping fully into what has been waiting for us, of trusting that we are ready to bloom in ways we never have before. Creativity moves through us. Leadership rises from within. Joy expands when we let it. We are both the dream and the becoming, both the stillness and the wild unfolding. So we gather to honor this moment, to step into the light, to expand our capacity to feel good, to lead with open hands and open hearts. The season has turned. Let's meet it fully. So I want to kick us off with Linda Brand, women's empowerment and spiritual mindset coach, transformation and self-love. Linda, here's my question for you, and then you can share for a little bit. Spring symbolizes rebirth, growth, and transformation. What is one way, Linda, that we can cultivate self-love and trust ourselves more deeply as we step into new beginnings?
Thank you for having me, Siri. I'm honored to be here and amongst all these beautiful souls. To answer your question, I feel that self-love is so gigantic in just success in every area of your life. And how I would say self-awareness is always number one. So start listening to the voices, the inner talk, your own inner voice, and notice what she's saying, how she's talking to you, and start there. And then listening to your intuition, your inner guide, that is how you're going to strengthen trust in yourself. But, it's a conscious decision to love yourself. It's a practice. It's not something that happens once and then you're good. It's like going to the gym, right? We don't work out once and we're fit. So it's something to continue practicing, just like meditation. You're going to pay attention to that voice. Ask yourself periodically throughout the day, what do I need right now? What feels good for me right now? Like listening to yourself, giving yourself what you need, the love that you desire from others, give it to you first. And so the inner voice, we all have an inner critic, and mine was very loud, and I send love. I learned to love all parts of me and integrate. And it's a practice. And I love celebrating small wins. And I feel that celebration is so we don't do enough of that. And so, yes, it's loving, giving ourselves what we want. And,
Linda, talk to me of when you just said celebration, celebrate the small wins. Talk to me about that more. Like, what is one example or two examples of something that you've done or that you recommended to your clients of celebration? Like, what could that look like?
It could look like buying yourself flowers, or, a special dinner, something you're celebrating. Like yesterday, I had several good things happen, and some not so good things, but at the end result were positive. But it could be, treating yourself to something, making it special instead of just
Yeah.
ordinary, but like, a dinner, treating yourself to a little gift, manicure, whatever it is, but just celebrating the small wins. And we don't do enough of that.
I love that. I love that so much, Linda, because I feel like we can just skip over that so easily. Oh, I accomplished that. Great. Next. And we forget. we forget to celebrate the her that she has been.
Yes. Yes, and the inner child work too, because we all have children inside us. Like we're all just adults in these, small children in these adult bodies, and it's just honoring that child. And I'm reparenting myself, and I think a lot of us in the healing world are doing that. We're
Yeah,
reparenting
yeah,
our child. So, and that's just like when you are angry or upset, if your 5-year-old child was angry or upset, are they still lovable?
right. That's
If
right.
your child that's, 7, if they're jealous or whatever, are they still lovable?
Oh, I love that
Yeah.
so much. Linda, thank you so much. I think it's incredible the work that you do. All of these women I've interviewed, so please go ahead and listen to the interview I did with Linda because she's brilliant and there's a lot more where that came from. We're gonna have a little after party. I don't think Linda's gonna be able to join. Are you? But just check in on her podcast interview because, and of course, I'll have her Instagram tag as well, so you guys can like message her and talk to her more about the beautiful wisdom that she just shared. Simbi Hall, writer and director, storytelling and amplifying voices. Simbi, storytelling, as we know, has the power to awaken. I like to say it's everything. Awaken, heal, and inspire. And we step into this season of renewal. What role does storytelling play in helping us reclaim our truth and create a more expansive vision for our lives?
Um, Thank you also for having me on. I love these panels. I agree with you. The story is everything because they're the stories that we're telling ourselves. And of course, there's the stories that we're presenting to the world, and of course, movies and all of those things. But I feel like with this question, I feel like the answer is how about rewriting your story?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think often we think this is the story of my life and this is how it is. And based on how it is, I can kind of project how it's going to be. And whether we're happy with that, usually we're not happy with that if we're kind of doing that. It's like, think about it and say, well, wait, you're in the story. Are you the main character of your story, first of all?
Yeah.
Because you might not be. You might think you are, but you might not be. Then, if you don't like the story, can you change, like in a movie, you change the camera angle and suddenly you're seeing a completely different scene, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so then you can do that with your own story because we're choosing what we're looking at. We're choosing those moments, and then we think something is the truth because we've relived that moment over and over and over. But what was the moment before that? What was you know what I mean? And it's so
Yeah.
I feel like with spring, like with this renewal, it's like we can literally rewrite our own story. Not that we're sorry, is something happening? My phone's happening. I that's so
You're rewriting it right
funny.
now.
My phone, it's so funny. Tangie, I was looking for my phone earlier, and Tangie, I was like, call my phone, and it wasn't ringing. That's now the voicemail, like 25 minutes later. I don't understand. Retrogrades. Also, everything in the portal. I don't know what's happening astrologically. That's the earth rewriting this story.
Exactly. Yeah. It's calling you, universe calling Simbi.
Hey, new storyline. But anyway, but I do think we can do that. So whether people are actually like journaling, like I had something come up like a week ago and 2 weeks ago, and I had to sit down and journal about like, why am I like, what am I telling myself? What is the story I'm telling myself of why I'm angry about this? Where does that relate to in the past? Like, what is, 7 or 12-year-old Simbi experiencing that's coming up now? And how can I let all of those emotions out and then shape it a different way? And then help shape it from here now. So
Yes.
I feel like we have that power.
Yeah, and both you and Tangi, who are sitting next to each other, are Buddhist practitioners as well as me. And so I'm just curious if we could add a little bit of maybe just a couple sentences about how the Buddhist perspective on this.
So the Buddhist perspective is I mean, it's deep, but it's like we really talk a lot about how this moment, you know, there's a concept called 3,000 realms in a single moment of life. And what that means is you are one with the past, obviously in the present, and creating the future all at the same time. So it goes along with how, like, our Buddhist philosophy is based on the Lotus Sutra. You know, we practice with the SGI, and the Lotus Sutra is interesting because the lotus flower, and as you mentioned in your poem, seeds and blooms at the same time. And so it's the simultaneity of cause and effect. So that's what's so interesting too, is that we live in a masculine dominated world where things are viewed in a linear fashion, but that isn't true. Life is cyclical. Life is a circle. And it's not like this, it's like this. And so when you think about where we are, we were here, but here has been informed by everything that came before, and we're informing everything that's coming forward. And the thing that's cool in Buddhism that we talk a lot about is how, based on the causes you're making right now, you can even change the past. Not in the sense that you're going back and maneuvering, you know, but when you make a cause now and you have a victory, for example, then all of the things that led up to that become the cause for your victory. They're
Yeah.
not failures. They're not, do you know what I mean?
I
So
love this. It makes me want to cry, Simbi.
yeah, it's important
Yeah.
because we are often told to like separate things.
Yeah.
You realize it's like life is enmeshed. Life
Yeah.
is, it's like this.
Yeah, we need the contrast, and you can't have that joy without knowing the contrast of it.
No,
And having made those mistakes, quotes mistakes, like that got us to this freaking moment right here that's so freaking beautiful.
yeah. And then the other thing, just and with this, because I don't know how long I've been talking, is the lotus flower, not only does it seed and bloom at the same time, but it purifies all the water around it. So it only blooms in a muddy swamp. So if we think like we're here, like through our stories, through our lives, to not only, you know, bloom into the best version of ourselves, but to help everybody around us do that as well. And that actually the mud is our fuel.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my gosh, thank you, Simbi. Okay, guys, listen to Simbi's episode. She's been on other panels, so check her out. All of the wisdom that we've talked about, writing and Buddhism and life philosophy and storytelling, all of this. There's more. Go listen to her episode. So for Tracy Hill, empowerment and wellness advocate, how can small, and I didn't ask you guys where you're coming in from. So maybe let's do that later. But we'll start to. So Simbi is in LA, and Linda, remind me where you are right now.
I'm
Just
in
quick.
Southwest Florida.
Okay, so Linda's in Florida, Simbi's in LA. Tracy, where are you?
I'm in Northwest Indiana. I'm right outside Chicago, about 40 minutes.
Okay, so Tracy, how can small intentional shifts help us break free from burnout and cultivate more joy? I mean, so many women, men too, but here we're talking about women, are burnt out. And so how can we cultivate more joy and alignment in our daily lives, these small intentional shifts?
Thank you, Siri. And I love this question. First, I just wanted to say, Simbi, I absolutely love that. I had to write that down. The mud is our fuel. I mean, that's just powerful. Thank you for sharing that. But Siri, I love this question so much because I need all my burned out, overwhelmed women to just lean in. Small shifts are so important. Intentional is the key word. Intentional small shifts. I call them micro shifts because when you're in a state of being burned out or overwhelmed or just going through the motions, the last thing you need is for someone to say, well, let's change jobs or move cities or divorce that husband or, major things. But small intentional shifts are things that are available to us at all times.
Yeah.
You can make a small shift in a moment. You can go from feeling overwhelmed to just a little bit better instantly. So the reason why my business is called A Beautiful Fix series, because when I was burned out, I was a corporate executive, completely done, just numb, great job, but burned out. I started to reconnect with things that I loved, and I realized they were beautiful things. So a moment in nature, a walk, a sunset, listening to music, conversation with friends, little things would instantly change my state. So I started looking for these beautiful fixes, like to make me feel a little bit better. So some examples of small shifts: saying no,
Mm,
protecting your space, putting up boundaries and not feeling guilt,
yeah.
understanding your limitations, understanding what drains you, and just
Yes.
saying no to it, saying yes to the things that light you up and no to the things that drain you. Um, Moments of stillness. I mean, I just did breath work with you earlier. It's amazing. Breath, it's here with us. We forget to breathe.
Yeah.
So taking a few minutes out to breathe or to step outside and feel sunlight on your face, listening to the
Yes.
birds sing. I know these sound like really, but it moves you from one state to instantly the next. And
Yeah.
then maybe you come in and make your favorite cup of tea. Now you're feeling a little better. Then maybe you put a playlist on and you slowly just start to move from overwhelmed to lighting up to just feeling good about yourself. And why does this work? It recalibrates your nervous system.
Hmm.
It's so these are just, simple things. And over time, they add up. And before you know it, you look back and you realize I've moved to a completely different place. It's how I went from being in corporate America to where I am today. It was small, tiny shifts that have a ripple effect. And it's sustainable. They're easy to do.
Exactly. I think that's so true. It's when we try to go from 0 to 60, 0 to 100, we're going to have a relapse, even if it does work. Like, it's just, that's not sustainable. And I love how
Right.
you're talking about these incremental, because it's really the nervous system is only going to allow us. If we go too fast, well, it's going to self-sabotage, because it doesn't feel safe. And I love
Yes.
these examples you gave us because, yeah, you're right. They do sound so simple and trite or whatever, but they work and they're important. And if we can honor those things, like every time my dog wants to go out back, instead of getting annoyed, I can go out with her and take a deep
Yes.
breath, 5 breaths, and then let her back in. Oh, she's my accountability
Exactly.
partner for
Yes.
getting outside.
Dogs, this could be a completely different podcast. They're amazing. They're here, they're gifts to us, and they're here to
Yeah.
remind us how easy it can be. So yes, I agree.
I'm just looking at Linda because she just like is in love with her dog. I mean, we all,
Right. As you should be.
who doesn't love their pets? Who doesn't
Right.
love their pets? Thank you so much, Tracy. And to be continued, because Tracy is going to be on the podcast. We're going to do a whole conversation soon. So keep your eye out for that. And Amy Wilkinson, who is here from Australia. In Australia, it's basically the middle of the night there. And so I'm super honored that you're here, Amy. And Amy, you can look for her interview on this podcast. Amy, spring, as we've been saying, is a time of fresh beginnings, of shedding old layers, of stepping into alignment. What is one practice or mindset shift, and you can say a couple if you want to, that help us to trust the process of this renewal, this cyclical renewal of the earth, of ourselves, and allow abundance to flow with ease? I know you do a lot of work with abundance.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Siri, for having me. This is so beautiful. I'm loving this conversation. I'm taking notes. Like, dog is my accountability partner. I wrote down the mud is my fuel. Like, I'm loving this. I'm getting so much out of it. And I just want to say, before I dive into the question, that I don't get out of bed at 3 a.m. in the morning for everyone, but I do for you, Siri. So I'm so happy to be here. Um, Beautiful question. I think regardless of the season that we're in, like I know in the northern hemisphere, you guys are in spring, so it's the renewal and the regeneration and the beautiful unfolding where we begin to see the fruits of our energy blossom into creation. Where I'm at in the southern hemisphere, we are moving into autumn, so it's a really beautiful portal at the moment, that letting go and that shedding of the old, the shedding of the tears, the clearing out what no longer serves. That I think regardless of where you're at, there is this collective invitation that we're really being asked to lean into, and that is, how can we trust more in the bigger unfolding that's always at play? And I like to call it the divine plan for your growth, for your mission, for your life. Like there is a higher plan that you're not separate from. Like Simbi said, like you have the leading role. And I think, and you said that so beautifully, Simbi, like we are being asked to really shift from a mindset that is so programmed into the doing, from a mind that likes to think that it's in control and that it needs to have it all figured out, which is, you know, very much the masculine paradigm, right? Into this place of allowing and receptivity and knowing that it's safe to trust in the cycles and the seasons of life, regardless of where you're at, that you can let go and surrender into that unfolding, right? And perhaps that means at the moment you're in the void, right? Or you're in that kind of in between. And it feels like we're in that at the moment with this equinox. Or maybe it means that like you're unsure of what's ahead. And remembering like that's okay because you're exactly where you're meant to be. Our mind isn't meant to know, but our soul knows.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of the work that I do is bringing people back into that remembrance that their soul knows, their soul has a plan, that aspect of us that is internal. And we're not meant to force the unfolding. We're here to allow it. Like we don't go and force flowers
Yeah.
to open and to bloom before they're ready. But they always will because there's always that divine plan and that divine timing at play. And I think spring is a really powerful reminder that no matter what we're doing, the cycle continues in nature, in ourselves. There's always growth and renewal and transformation with ease, without force. And the more that we in our humanity, but also in our spirituality, can really practice trust. And for me at the moment, and with the clients that I'm working with, it's a lot of that releasing the grasp of the mind and the ego identity and releasing that need to micromanage the outcomes or even the need to know like the when and the how.
Amy, that
Mm,
hypervigilance that we're deconditioning from, what
mm.
is like a tool that you like to use? What's your favorite tool to decondition from that hypervigilance of that so that we can trust?
Yeah, I think it's really coming back. Like a lot of my work will bring people back into their heart,
Yeah.
into the heart that we can trust, like shifting out of the mind, even like imagining that you're walking down from your mind, like a little spiral staircase and coming back into your heart and asking yourself then, kind of like what Linda was saying, really like what feels good today? Can you allow yourself to receive more of the things that light you up, more of the play, more of the pleasure, and realize that you deserve that you're worthy of that. Like it's not something that we do. Trust isn't something that we do. It's who we are. We are love. So coming back to
Oh,
our inherent nature.
that's so good. Trust isn't something we do, it's who we are. I mean, that's a freaking paradigm shift right there, Amy.
Mm. Yeah. And so asking like, what would trust do today?
Yeah, thank you for that. That's
Mm.
brilliant. Thank you, Amy, so, 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 so much.
Pleasure. Yeah. Thank
So
you.
you're so welcome. Amy, I love you. So Robyn Cohen, actress, mentor, creativity and transformation. Robyn, you've been all over the globe. You were in Budapest, then you were in New York City. I think you're in LA. Robyn, acting requires presence,
Mm.
embodiment, and a willingness to fully step into a role. What lessons from the craft of acting can help us show up more courageously and
Mm.
authentically
Mm.
in our lives?
Mm.
Mm.
That's a great question. And I thank you for having me here. It's incredible to be with all of you. And I'm just drinking in everything that you've shared, Cindy and Amy and Linda and Tracy. My brain like, and my heart's like, and real quick about spring.
Yeah.
Uh, I was supposed to be born in April. And so my mom very originally decided she was going to call me April, but then I came a little early
Oh.
and in March. And so instead, they named me after my wallpaper, which had a
birds, robin birds on them. So instead
Yeah.
of being named after the month April, I was named Robyn. So spring has sort of been from the beginning. I also found out recently that I was born in Maryland at the Bethesda Naval Hospital. And my parents told me recently that for me to be born, it cost $14.27. And then my mom says to me,
That's very Jewish.
worth every penny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
$14.27. Yeah, Linda, you're the same. Okay, got it. So, to
My
segue
dad tells that joke, Robyn. Like,
in-
oh, it was worth it. Yeah. Oh, I've been saving
Worth every
I've been
penny.
saving the receipts. So, you know,
Yeah,
he saw it
yeah,
in some movie. Yeah.
right. You got to save those receipts. And so I've been sharing with my class, I'm so fortunate to be around a lot of creative people, like the people in this Zoom room and my students and collaborators. And there's this insidious thing that tends to take over about when I get the job, when I get the part, when I get the role, then I'll be happy because I'll be able to be an actor. When the
Yep.
casting director approves of me, when the producer says that the show is going, when I get my money in the mail, when I get the agent, then I'll be able to act, right? There's all this in order to. And so
Mhm.
what we've been talking about recently, and I'm experiencing it right now, is the phenomena of this is it.
This is it, baby.
Like this, like right now, like with Linda and Dana and Tracy and Siri and Lola and Claudia and Tangi and Cora and Amy and Dr. Arianna, like this is it. Like in the most magnificent, massive sense. And we are in the center of the universe, always and in all the ways. And there's that show Saturday Night Live. Like everyone knows it's our iconic show, right?
Yeah.
And you know how we get excited, like it's Saturday night. So I'm taking on, it's Saturday night every night. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
first of all, who promised me a tomorrow? No one. Who
Yeah.
promised me, tonight? Nobody. And so there's something about this is it. Like this is the magic, whether that is in rehearsal.
It's not a dress rehearsal.
Not a rehearsal. Whether like when you're in the rehearsal, when you're just working on the audition, when you're sending out letters of inquiry to meet with the agents, like this is the deliciousness. This communication, this audition, this preparing for the role, this driving 1,000 different places to commercial auditions, this pumping my gas to get there. This is it. And taking that on, life starts to shimmer like the spring. So the idea, I love everything you share, that about what would trust say, like that we're no longer trying to get stuff or trying to get money or jobs or abundance. We are the abundance. And then we attract and receive a match to that energetic.
Yep.
And I could give 1,000 examples. I won't because we have to move on. But I've just noticed that when my capacity, Siri, to feel good and my capacity to receive, which is something that you're so masterful at cracking that open for human beings. When that expands, things that I didn't even know were possible start to become my everyday life and like everyday miracles. So that's my, it's a homework. It's like sort of, I'm on assignment every day, all day, 7 days a week. Like this is it. And that's what I'm taking on this year and what I'm offering to the people that I work with, because if this were really it, if this was the last Zoom, knock on wood, because I don't like to be all weird and creepy, like if this was the last Zoom, but
You're like, no, but you're like carpe diem, and that is how you live your
Yes.
life. That is how Robyn genuinely lives her life. We see it, and and it's informed by deep understanding of what it means to have your heart completely broken, and so you have that kind of understanding
Yes.
of,
And what
yeah.
helps with that when we've had our hearts broken into is the other piece of that is experiencing so fully, so profoundly, like to the depths of my soul, with every fiber of my being, I know that I am you and you are me. I am Cora and I am Amy and I am Siri and Lola and Claudia. Like I am so clear about that. I literally have you, Claudia, are in my text message thread because we've been connected through Siri. We've never even spoken, right? But like I'm Tracy, I'm creating you, you're creating me. This whole thing and the oneness of that is such a yummy feeling, like I'm sipping hot chocolate on a Caribbean island. I like to go hot chocolate on a Caribbean island. I love chocolate and I love a Caribbean island, so I'm putting it
Me
together.
and you together on a
The
Caribbean
awareness
island
of
with
that.
hot chocolate would be
Yes.
like the dream.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
remembering to
so
remember that oneness is also the elixir for me this spring and beyond. Yeah.
so Robyn, every second that we experience you, you bring us to the present moment, and that is an eternal gift. Thank you so much, Robyn. I love you, just bring me alive every time I interact with you. Even if it's just a text message, she brings me completely alive and present to the moment. So I think that we can all kind of like take
I
a
love leaving
page
voice
from that.
memos. I do love leaving voice memos.
So
Too
I want to
long,
make sure that
way too
Tangi
long.
has a chance to come into this circle. So for
Thank you.
Tangi, is also an actress, Tangi RouseRingo. I was at her wedding, and she does embodying diverse perspectives through her acting, through her work as a human. There's so many facets to what you do, Tangi, that we haven't even talked about. But I want to also interview you personally, one-on-one. Tangi, every character that you play offers a new lens, a new experience. How can embracing different perspectives, both in art and in life, and you were just saying that in the comments, like art and life, help us expand our capacity for joy and deeper connection?
Ooh, thank you for having me, Simbi.
You call her Simbi.
I mean, so I say Simbi because I wanted to turn to Simbi, like I keep jabbing her, like, did you hear this? This woman. So
you guys are in LA. You guys should meet up.
Yes,
Not that either of you have
Robyn,
extra time, but
I would take this in a loving way, everyone. I will slap every one of you women. That's how good I feel right now. Like, I'm like vibrating on such and every single thing that everyone has touched on is like I just wow, I'm so blown away. I'm so honored. I'm like, I'm not crying, you're crying, because that's the way I feel right now. I an actress, but a lot of what I do, I'm a comedian as well, and a lot of the characters that I do are in that capacity because, as Robyn mentioned, like the time is now. Like this is so every time I get up on stage, that's when right now, every time I write, through the perspective of a different character, the time is now. Like I am feeling like I am part of that character's healing. And these characters didn't just come from nowhere. They came from people. Like this is through all of us. And it's interesting, we all have touched on the inner child and really nurturing that inner child. And I feel like as an artist who can step into different perspectives, I envision myself, and it's spring, I envision myself as little Tangi running through the streets, knocking on everybody's door. Can little Robyn come out and play? And then I knock on Tracy's door. Can little Tracy come out and play? Can little Amy come out and play? Like I feel like whenever I'm embodying that, I feel like I'm able to like invite everyone else's inner child to come out and play. And when we get an opportunity to all be together, like in a setting where we're at a comedy show, I think comedy shows and theater, whenever we see a play, it's the most incredible experience. And people don't just, I feel like people consciously decide to go to see a show, but it's the self that is saying, I need to go and be part of the collective and not from an intellectual place necessarily. So when you take yourself voluntarily to be in this space, we are opening ourselves up to have a shared experience.
Yeah.
Opening ourselves up to laugh. I have bits about being Black and being a mother that another white mom can relate to, that a white dad can relate to, because we are all more alike than we are different. I grew up feeling that way. My dad was we were always the first Black family in the neighborhood. And on the outside, I was like, why? But then I started to understand, because it's more about how do we connect as opposed to what are our differences. And then our differences can truly be celebrated. And I know for a fact that joy, the cultivation of joy, the feeling of joy is a revolutionary act in itself.
Yes.
Period. Do you know what I mean? Because the environment right now is trying to tell us.
Yep.
It's not. It's trying to tell us that we need to come from a false place.
Yeah.
But the fact that all of you women that we're all here right now says different.
Yeah.
We are warriors, but we're warriors of joy.
Oh my God, warriors of joy.
Girl, and every single time we are able to permeate this vibration, we're winning.
Yeah.
This is how we fight.
Yeah.
This is how we do it. And in the Buddhist, in our Buddhist practice, whenever obstacles come up, that's how we know we're on the right path.
Right.
Because all the shit will come up, all of it. And you're like, oh my God. Now, either you're just, you're going to fall to the floor like a puddle, or you're going to recognize what you're feeling and then allow your higher self to use these obstacles as stepping stones to truly obliterate all of this is how we're making these changes. And the fact that we're all here right now is a testament to what we're actually listening to. We're starting to really listen to our inner selves. And I feel like as artists, the more we can impact people through our art is an affirmation to them that they can listen to their inner self. And laughter is huge for me. I just went through this myself. And also being able to say to yourself, be your first client. I am my first client.
That's good.
I have to be my first client. So if if this resonates with me, then I can help other people do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm hot.
Oh God, Tangie. Ugh. You guys, I was at Tangie's wedding and she was so funny during her wedding vows. Like, it's not like a missed moment. She used to watch my baby, like our babies played together. I love you so much.
I love you. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of
Thank
you.
so much for this. This is incredible. But
okay, now I'm just like
I know.
cavelling. Okay. All right. So how do I even reflect that back? I can't. It just stands on its own. Okay, because wow.
We're doing it for each other right now. Period. We're doing it.
Yeah.
And I can carry this through the rest of my day. Do you know what I mean?
This is what I wanted to say. You guys should go onto Tangi's Instagram. It'll be in the show notes. And she does walks and walk and talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. So Dr. Arianna Masotti, I met through Simbi. She connected us and I interviewed her, and it was a beautiful interview. She has an incredible story. Growing up in Italy and living in London and traveling all over. And she's a clinical psychologist and CEO of Bloome. Mental and emotional well-being is her thing. So Arianna, thank you so much for being here. Happiness is deeply connected to our well-being, right? So yet it can feel out of reach during challenging times. What is one simple way we can reconnect with joy even when life feels heavy?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for this beautiful moment, Siri. I'm so grateful to be here on Spring Equinox. Like Bloome is blooming right now. I just wanted to say that for me, happiness isn't forcing ourselves to feel good all the time. That's impossible. But it's about creating the space for joy, even in difficult moments. So for me, one simple way is through movement, through a walk, workout, a stretching, because mind and body are deeply, deeply intertwined. So when we engage in intentional movement, we have a part in our brain that is called the reward system, specifically the nucleus accumbens. In that moment, dopamine is flooding through our system and we feel better. We feel better, because sometimes I see people walking blind all their lives. Everybody has their own addiction. We try to feel the happiness through cigarettes, alcohol, sugar, but actually it's so simple. We need to go back to the basics, like breathing, tuning in with the nature, moving our body. We are not built to be sit down all day working on the laptop. So yeah, it's about creating healthier and sustainable habits. Because if you think about I think that in this society, we have all a cognitive bias that we are selecting the cues in environment that are enforcing the core belief that we are not good enough. Today I forgot to contact my manager. Today I didn't do that. But actually, how many times we stop and reflect and say like, wow, I'm proud of myself. Today I found the time to have this beautiful conversation with this great and strong woman. Or like today, I exercised. I eat healthy. No, because we are focused on the negative.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about what Simbi said, like we are the author of our own script. So I say to my clients during my session, for a moment, imagine that you're watching the movie of your own life and you're sitting on the front row. Are you actually playing the part that you want to play? Like, how is this main character walking, talking, behaving with other people? If you don't like that character, change it. It's all about turning down the volume of the inner critic voice and turn up the volume of the kind and compassionate one.
Just like what Linda was saying. Yeah, I love this. Tell us more. Tell me another minute more of this, about this.
Yeah, so basically, I think that sometimes when we want to feel good, it's like a perfume. For me, self-confidence, for example, is like a perfume. You set the intention, you take action, and then other people, they can perceive the smell, they can smell it, And then I invite all my clients to remove all the barriers. I'm not good enough. I don't have the financial resources. I don't belong here. Remove all this negative cognitive bias and rewrite your own story because you can make it. You can make it. If you envision where you want to be, what you want to create, if you want to be inspired, you can do it. Nobody's blocking you or preventing you from doing that.
Yeah, usually it's ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, our biggest blocks.
And we learn from failures when we don't achieve what we want to achieve. For me, the key is being consistency.
Right.
When you have
Yeah.
a goal, fight for that. I
Yeah,
remember,
it's not like going and doing all the things every day. It's like, can you just implement one simple, Tracy was talking about that, like one simple little habit. Can you implement that for a little bit of time? I'm learning Italian.
Yes.
I'm learning Italian on Duolingo with Tangi. I don't know what language are you learning, Tangi? I don't know, but I'm learning
Spanish.
Spanish. Okay, very similar. But every day, Arianna, I am learning like, I got my little goals. So it's like, it's because otherwise it would just be too overwhelming. I would like, oh, I can never learn Italian.
I said that the same thing. I could never learn English. If I see myself 6 years ago coming to London without knowing one single word of English, without knowing anybody, without having a place to stay,
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself right now. I'm in West Village in New York. I cannot even believe it. It's the power of consistency.
Yeah.
Because I remember I said to myself, one day I'm going to understand what the BBC presenter is saying. And one day it really happened. So I was like, okay, I think I learned English.
That's so funny. Thank
But
you
yeah.
so much, Dr. Arianna. You're incredible. Thank you, Simbi, for introducing us. I'm so delighted to have these incredible women here. Yeah, it's really interesting how just listening to you, Arianna, it's like it's like breathing fresh air. It's like breathing spring air. So for Dana, I've known Dana for a very long time. She's Chief Impact Officer, Conscious Living and Leadership is her thing. Dana, in Costa Rica, living the Pura Vida life, you work at the intersection of conscious living and global impact. How can aligning with nature's rhythms and intentional living help us lead with greater authenticity and greater purpose?
I love that. I think it's the big question, isn't it? Of how do we align with our purpose? And I'm sure so many of the coaches that are listening or that are even on this incredible group. And seriously, what an honor, Siri. Thank you so much for putting this together. It's an honor to be together today. But I think that's one of the biggest questions is, what am I here for? What's the purpose of all of this? And so I think that nature is absolutely connected to that. It has to be. And I think something you know about me is that I love quotes. And so I'll probably drop a few quotes as we go through this, but
Love it.
It's that famous quote of maybe the journey isn't about becoming anything, but maybe it's about unbecoming everything we are not. And I think that is the journey of uncovering our purpose. It's really removing all the layers, as Dr. Arianna was saying, removing the limiting beliefs. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I don't belong. I'm different. And getting quiet enough to actually listen to what is authentic about us.
Yeah.
What are we here for? And I think without connecting to nature, it's not possible to do that, because it's been said already today, we are nature. So without connecting to ourselves and to the truth of who we are, it's impossible to get quiet enough to actually listen to our creativity. So, I can talk about the scientific sides of things that, nature, it reduces stress, it, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, it enhances creativity, the creativity network by, increasing that default mode network. There's a lot of science behind what happens in our brain when we move into that subconscious state, when we move into the calm state of the nervous system, and how the mind starts to open up and starts to make things possible. And only in that state can we start living our authentic purpose and
Dana.
get clear and start to. Yes, sorry. Please
No,
cut me off. Please.
No.
Tell me. I can keep going.
When you switched to living, were you in LA when you went to Costa Rica?
A little
Where were
bit.
you? Okay.
I'm Canadian.
When you switched to living in Costa Rica, which is such a different lifestyle to what you were just saying about the science of being in nature, it switched from being a philosophy to being a deeper lived experience. And what has that shift been like for you? What do you notice in your body, in your life, in your mind through living that Pura Vida life?
Well, I think I can't explain that without sharing a little bit about what happened before I got here.
Yeah.
And what happened to me before is that on paper, I got everything I wanted. And I had a huge career. I was making a lot of money. I was living in the house. I had the stuff, the things, and there was like a deep sense of disconnection within me. And I remember saying, like, what is this all about? And so the journey to getting to Costa Rica was not an easy one. It really took a dark night of the soul to re-examine everything I believed. And when we met, you and I, on the last podcast, I shared how I had met with that practitioner, and she said to me, you're really good at doing, but you have no idea how to be. And I was like, I have no idea how to be. And then I was like, but really, like, how do I be? And she encouraged me to really start to anchor into my senses. And so, I think it was Robyn who was talking about it. All we have is now. Our senses anchor us into the present moment. What are we feeling, tasting, hearing, smelling, seeing? And when we're able to, and so here in Costa Rica, it's sort of like an evolution of that. It's almost impossible not to be in the present moment. It's an assault of your senses consistently, from what you're tasting to what you're seeing to the sounds that are around you, of the animals and the birds. There's so much sound going on outside of me right now. I'm so grateful for Zoom and for it cutting out all the sounds, because if you only saw what was going outside my window. But, that really, like, all of those assault on the senses actually forces us to be in the present moment. And that's been the gift of Costa Rica for me. And I don't know if old me would have been able to handle it, truly, because I was thinking 10 miles ahead for so long that I didn't have the joy of the present moment in the same way. And so there's nothing like life going on its head. I've had a lot of people pass away in my life in the last few days, which is just crazy. It's thank you. And I know we're all dealing with that, and death is the only sure thing, but there's nothing like that to remind you what actually matters. This is all we got.
Yeah, when someone passes, there's just a period of time where it is very, 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 very tender and raw. So thank you for still being here.
Of course.
Oh,
Of course.
my goodness. Yeah. I've been to Costa Rica a couple times, and it is just a different world.
It's a vortex. It's quite the vortex. There's a few places like that around the world, but it's a special spot, and it allowed me to be even deeper in my purpose by being as much as I've been doing, and just allowing my mind and my brain to open up to possibilities.
Thank you, Dana, so much for that contribution. And please go listen to her episode. So for Claudia Noriega Bernstein, in Vegas, inner abundance coach, confidence and personal power. Claudia, so many people hold themselves back from joy because of fear, self-doubt, old conditioning. What are some shifts that can help us step more fully into our power and embrace abundance?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm so thrilled to be with all these amazing women. And this is kind of like a buffet for me, because I'm listening to everybody, and a little bit of everyone applies to my practice and what I work with my clients and I teach. And it's so juicy. I am in awe with all of you, and I really feel honored to have the opportunity to share space and hold space for each other. So thank you to all of you. Thank you, Siri, for putting this together. And I would like to start with the one part of your question, which is the old conditioning. We when we are born, we have these beliefs that are ingrained in our brain. We don't come out of our mother's womb with our own habits. We inherit them. So little things like, what do we wear pajamas to go to bed? Why we eat popcorn in the movies? Why we generally have a glass of wine at dinner? Those are things, habits, traditions that we inherit, right? It's not something that we come up with. So what Dana was saying applies so much to that, because it comes to a point in our life that we have to recognize that we have been domesticated, that we are not who we are meant to be. So we have to unbecome that person that the world made us become, the roles that the world kind of taught us or made us believe that we have to play. And a lot of those roles don't apply to us anymore. Maybe a role that was super important when we were a teenager is not important, or it's not valid, or doesn't serve us anymore when we're in our 30s or when we're in our 40s. I am 58 years old, and there is a lot of things that I used to believe as fact, as true. I would go to war with those things when I was in my 20s. And now when I look back, I'm like, wait, what? That's not true. You know, that those are things that were put in our brain. And
Yeah.
those old conditions are like fear of judgment, are like
Yeah.
if you're busy, you're worthy of. If you you know, live in scarcity, for example. Let's talk about scarcity for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Scarcity, if you think about scarcity and scare, the four first letters are the same.
Right.
So when we live in scarcity, we're living in fear.
Yep.
What are you afraid of? Are you afraid not to be happy? You feel that you don't deserve to be happy? So when you start taking in consideration of those things, then you create these limiting beliefs that are going to hold you back from having that joy that is a birthright.
Yeah.
We didn't come to this world to suffer.
Yeah.
We came to this world to be happy and to learn, to become the best version of ourselves. So if you really believe that, and you really look inside yourself, and kind of like what Arianna said, looking at the movie of your life and making the decision, the conscious decision that the role I'm playing in this movie is not aligned with who I want to be or who I want to become, then you start shifting and making those changes. This is why it's so important to create this avatar of the person that you aspire to be.
Yeah.
You know, how the person dress, who is who that person hangs with, what kind of food that person eats, what kind of job that person has, to the point of where she lives and what kind of car that person drives. So you start creating that better version of yourself that you aspire to be. And every time you have to make a decision, you see if that decision is aligned with that better version of yourself. And if it's not, then it's an easy choice. I'm not going to that party. I'm not hanging with that person. I'm not taking that job. I'm not having that extra drink. You start making those decisions in your life, depending on what is aligned or not with that better version of yourself that you want to be.
Yeah.
So you asked me how to shift, right? You first need to recognize the problem to be able to fix the problem.
Yeah.
So when you're stuck in those moments, think, why do I think that I don't deserve joy? Who do I need to be to feel worthy of that joy? And that's where the shift starts. And what Dana said was I think it was Dana, the little steps. You make those little steps bigger steps until you are that person that you aspire to be, right? So I think it's a process. You cannot go and say, today I decide to be happy. It doesn't work that way. Like, what's his name? Joe Dispenza says, the thoughts are the language of the brain and the feelings are the language of the body. And oftentimes, when you think about personality, personality is the person and the reality that you are in this moment. So it's very important how we talk to ourselves. If I say I am angry, I'm defining myself as an angry person. You're not angry, you're feeling angry.
Yeah.
It's different. So when you disconnect that, then you have more clarity of who you are and what you're feeling. And if you continue practicing that, you can actually predict your future to an extent, which is manifestation. Because what it is, manifestation, is visualizing something that you want. And what is attached to that? The feeling. How am I going to feel when I go to Costa Rica, for example? I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel free. I'm going to feel I'm in touch with nature. So you start visualizing yourself in that state of mind, and then you're manifesting that you're going to be in Costa Rica. The next time you're in Costa Rica, you're like, I'm familiar with this feeling because I felt it before. I call on that feeling. So the same thing we do with joy. And that's how it works. It's not easy, but that's a practice.
Oh, Claudia, gosh, that was just a crash course 101 in all things abundance, joy, happiness, rewiring. mindset. Like, thank you for condensing so much wisdom into a beautiful talk. That was really good. I was just
Thank
like, yes, 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 yes.
But it's all connected, you know. We are all pieces of a masterpiece, as you know. So if we start putting all those little pieces in our own masterpiece and start creating that that woman that we admire, we like I always, and I have said this to you before, I honor all the versions of myself from what Linda said, when you were a little kid until you're an adult. So I honor all of them because they're all part of me and I
Yeah.
love them all. And one of you also said the way we speak to each other, you know, when if your friend come and say, I'm back with my boyfriend, you're not gonna go, you're so stupid. What did you go back with that guy? He's such an idiot. He's such a loser. No, you're gonna say, let's talk about it. What is it that is making you go back to him? Get curious with yourself. Get curious with your emotions. Get curious about how you feel, why you feel, what is triggering you. When something triggers you, there is something that you need to still work on, right? So
Yeah.
joy is part of that. Joy is such a pure emotion. I remember the first time somebody said to me, who took your joy? And I was like in shock. That was I was, you know, in my early 30s. And this coach said to me, who took your joy? And I was like, I was offended. But once I started digesting that emotion and why that was triggering me, I realized that no one took my joy. I give it away. And by
Oh,
taking responsibility of my action, of my behavior, of what I allowed in my life for that joy to be no more in my life, then I start doing things to bring that joy back. But
yeah.
you have to be aware, it's a state of mind.
Yeah. Claudia, thank you so much. I feel like we're all your daughters right now. You have four incredible, gorgeous daughters that you've raised with incredible devotion and love. And I feel like we got to just like have a moment of being one of them. So thank you.
I thank you. And we actually have six, remember that, because we're a blended family.
Oh gosh.
They're
Well,
all
okay.
women here. There's a lot of estrogen going on in
Six.
this house.
You're a mama. You're a mama.
I'm a mom, and that's what I work with women, because you cannot teach what you haven't experienced. And what Robyn was saying, you have to have a broken heart or have to go through a broken heart experience to be able to understand and meet that person what that person is. And
Yeah.
then you can coach them, you can help them, you can inspire them.
Thank you, Claudia, so much. I'm so excited to share Lola with you guys, with you gals, Lola Christine. Okay, I met Lola in Portland, Oregon, at a concert of a friend of mine. She blew me away. I bought her record. We stayed in touch. We can't wait to collaborate on things. Her music inspires me. It uplifts me. It's incredible. She's an award-winning singer-songwriter, inspiring healing through music. You have to follow her on Instagram because you'll feel like you're going on the journey with her of being this incredible musician. So Lola, your music has a way of teaching and touching the soul and creating deep emotional connection. How do you see music as a tool for healing and expanding our capacity to feel joy?
Mm. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. This has been just like, oh, all the golden nuggets of wisdom. And I've been taking, so many notes. And I definitely will be reviewing them again later because a lot of aha moments came today. Yes. What's funny, you don't know this, but the last time I did a breath work with you, which was months ago, I was actually in a bit of a creative block because I was going through some gnarly things in my personal life and I didn't want to look at them. I didn't want to fully be with like the hard feelings. And so after we did the breath work, I sat down at the piano finally after months of not really writing anything, and a song just poured out of me, and it was really being with the hard feelings and sitting in that. And
it's called In the Tomb. And I was kind of subconsciously inspired by Marianne Williamson, who talks about tomb time. You know, like after death, before resurrection, you have this period of time that you're in the darkness and or in the cocoon or whatever you want to call it. And so that was so powerful for me because it felt like me being willing to sit with the tomb time and be in the tomb and feel the darkness, feel all the pain, and really address what was underneath that. And then from there came, you know, all these resentments I was holding, the shame I was holding, the fears. And really, I've been in the process of kind of writing all these things out and then asking myself, do I want to keep holding on to these things? Do I really want to keep wearing this as my identity? And that's been a huge theme of today of like, what is the story you want to tell yourself? And so first, just want to say thank you for unlocking me and then beginning this kind of transformation process since then, that I really have been okay with looking at that darkness, bringing it into the light. And then, oh, just so many rich themes today of not seeing failure as like the bad thing and this like end of the world, and you know that it's actually part of your victory. Someone said that and I loved it. And so yeah, I just feel like music has always been there for me as my mode of creative expression to address things that maybe my conscious mind is too afraid to look at. But if I take the time to get creative and allow the space for whatever to come up, it's kind of incredible because I am visiting the most sacred inner parts of myself that finally get to come out and play and speak their wisdom to me and give me advice. And so whether it's, you know, you want to call it your inner child or higher self, I feel like songwriting has been the way that my soul communicates to me.
Yeah, that is so felt in your performances. I feel that. I feel deeply touched in my soul when I listen to you perform. And so I love how you're really bringing us into the shadow work and the like going into the depths. I mean, that's not the first time that we've touched upon that here today, but it gives me courage to hear you talk about that process. Where am I not giving myself the time and space to go deeper in my creativity? I'm also thinking about, you know, Tangi, you're also a musician. We didn't even mention that. But yeah, it's really beautiful because the inner work that we do, that's what people feel when they go and see you perform. Same with all the performers here, like, or, you know, in your work, in service work to others, like that deep inner work, the journaling, the writing, the breathing, the long walks, the getting in touch with our inner child, connecting with source, like that is what everyone feels when they're around us. And I think that's the thing we have to keep coming back to and remembering is like the deeper we go, the more we're felt.
Yes, and the more present we are able to be. And that's what I feel like has been such a gift of this process over the past 6 months. It's like in facing my own darkness, I'm no longer trying to distract and avoid and run from,
Yeah.
you know, the uncomfortable feeling that was lingering underneath. And I've been with it. I'm not afraid of it. And then I'm not afraid of it in other people either. And so when I'm with friends who are struggling, it's not like, oh, how can I fix you and get you out of your feelings? It's like, oh, yeah, tell me more. What is that like for you? And I want to like get in there with you. I want to come into the tomb and like, I'm not afraid of it anymore. And that's been such a blessing. And I feel
Wow.
like, yeah, also in the songwriting, it's like I'm more honest, more real with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I had a thought and I lost it because I'm just like, feel like I'm showered with love and wisdom. Lola, oh, I know what I wanted to say is y what I see of you in the world is so much joy.
Mm.
So we hear you talking here about going deep and, really being with the tomb process.
Yeah.
And Claudia had, oh no, there you are. Yes, she interviewed Marianne Williamson.
Oh,
So you guys should talk. But being with that tomb process, like I see so much joy that has come from that. You are just like on such a wild rainbow ride. And I love it.
yes, it absolutely has been the theme of like the lower you go, the deeper into the valley, the lower you crouch down, the higher you can jump up, and the more, the higher the mountain top is. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's yeah, I feel like just stripping away all of the layers, the unconscious layers of what was holding me down has made me so much more present and joyful. And the other big thing that has been transforming through this whole process is my relationship to the creator, to God, the source. I grew up, Catholic, and that kind of gave me a little bit of a distorted view of God being this like tough judge who's going to punish me. And I believe that how you feel about God is how your whole world, like how you see God is how you see everything. And
Mm.
so that was like how I was receiving the whole world through this lens of like, I'm always guilty. I'm always kind of
Mm.
on the edge of doing something bad and getting punished. And so that's been the other big transformation that's happened, is realizing what so many have said today. God is love, God is truth, and I am one with God. And so I am meant to be experiencing the goodness of this life. And that's what we were designed for. That's who we are. And
Yes.
then we're meant to share that with others. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
celebrating every shade of what that goodness may look like in your life, even if it seems bad, it's
Yeah.
not, it's still part of the goodness.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like the 3,000 realms in a single moment of time that Simbi was talking about. It's like all encompassed. It's all there.
Mhm.
It's all part of each other. Okay, well, we definitely need to hear from Cora because she's been so patient. Cora, so embodiment coach, presence, joy. Cora, how does getting out of the head and into the heart, we've been talking about that a lot today, help us experience more creativity, ease, and joy in our daily lives? Is it raining?
Where I am?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
but I'm on this old computer because my MacBook broke down last week. So anything could happen, but I'm really glad we're on together right now.
Me too.
So, yes, first of all, everyone, you're so amazing. I'm in such awe. I want to look all of you up. I want to know you. I want to learn from you. You're all so beautiful. Just really want to mirror that back. It's a little intimidating to be the closer here.
Oh,
And and I will step up to the plate. So, gosh, I am a recovering people pleaser, perfectionist, overthinker. And I have lived so much of my life in my head. I realized that in my early to mid 20s. Thank goddess for that. There was some awareness that came in through my holistic health coaching program that I did. And I started to recognize that when I'm in my head, I'm in the past or the future. And that's where anxiety exists. And I remember someone saying, actually, I'm pretty sure I heard God, goddess, love say this to me, but I heard the message, anxiety is there because I'm not there with you. Like if you're in the past or the future, it's harder to access divine connection. It's still there, but it's just harder to access. And so one of the biggest reasons I think being out of the head and in the heart helps is because we are then connected to infinite wisdom, infinite love,
That's
to
right.
that unconditional loving parent. That's how I just became a mom 2.5 years ago. And it's been the best gift of my life. I was terrified. And to be a mom, and then it's been so incredible. And I feel like as I parent him, I recognize the power of parenting me. And to really access that divine parent, it takes presence. Like Dana said, being in our senses. Like Amy, brilliant. I love the spiral staircase down. We like plants bend towards the light. We lean towards presence. We want to be here. We
Yeah.
want a regulated nervous system.
Oh, I just got head
So-
chills, Cora. We want to be here.
Oh, yeah, we want to be fully alive. Like Robyn said, life starts to shimmer. Like that's our divine birthright. Each of us, everyone. No one is an exception to that. And so it doesn't have to be complicated to be
Right.
present.
Right.
It's not always easy.
Right.
And I love what you were saying about feeling those feelings we're avoiding feeling, because that's one of the biggest ways we are not present. It's when we're repressing. I remember Debbie Ford, who wrote The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. She would say that avoiding emotions or parts of ourselves is like trying to hold beach balls underwater.
Yes.
It takes so much energy.
Yes.
So tiring.
Cora, your aura is, that rhymes. Your aura is vibrating. I can see it.
Awesome.
So what are you doing, Cora, that's causing this effect, this vibration around you, this beautiful aura? What are you doing?
So I'm not in my head much at
Yeah.
all in this moment. I'm very connected to the energy in my body, to my breath, to love, and I have stepped out of the way as much as possible and asked that whatever's meant to come through me for our highest good and the highest good of all. And that's how I recommend living.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of overthinking or pre-planning, or it's just channeling your life is the way to go.
That's a beautiful way. And thank you for touching upon several people's reflections of what they had shared. That's really helpful because I've just been so in the present in my heart that I almost can't put my head around, like the words to even form of like what this was. So I'm sure the listeners are going to just have a heyday with all of this.
You'll get to listen to the recording series.
I know, I can't wait. Okay, so here's a little closing poem for all of us. May we leave this space with hearts stretched wider, just like Cora said, with souls breathing deeper, with hands more open to the gifts that we are meant to hold. Every step forward is part of the rhythm part of the great unfolding, like Amy was talking about, part of the way joy flows towards us when we are willing to receive it. The river follows its path with trust. The sun rises without hesitation. The trees bloom like Dr. Arianna with certainty. So do we. Happiness grows in the way we show up for our lives, like Robyn was talking about, in the way we listen, in the way we create, and the way we allow ourselves to feel fully alive. The earth is always renewing itself, and so are we. Carry this knowing forward into your work, into your art, into the quiet moments where joy takes root and something new begins to rise. The season has turned and we are ready. I am so appreciative. I'm so in awe, just like you said, Cora. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for the light that you put in the world, the service that you bring to others, the ripple effect that you've created and that you continue to create just by being the fantastic women, leaders, creatives, entrepreneurs that you are. Please, please keep doing your work in the world because it is affecting so many people and we're so better for it. And to Tangi too, we're gonna have a little after party for anyone that feels like cross chatting. And if you need to go, totally honor and respect your time. Listeners, thank you so much. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good, one breath at a time. Loving you.